bring a much more enjoyable life to you. If I can help you. Because you're going to talk about real people, real feelings, real issues, and real... You can call in and ask any more about me. I come from a very abused background. We always put our heart into it. That's how I be true in it.
Good afternoon, my name is Stephanie Washington, and this is Chillin Chattin Coffee with my co-host, Miss Sudie Landry. Today we're going to talk about diabetes, which is a silent killer which I suffer from. And it's caused from hormone produced in the pancreas. I have it really bad, and that's why I want to talk about it today, because I had amputation on my foot, my big toe, and they don't tell us a lot, because I got it from having a callus at the bottom of my foot, and I didn't know I was supposed to shave it, and it got infected, and then I lost my toe.
You know what, Stephanie? A lot of people out there in the viewing audience think you're going to have certain symptoms, and it can creep up on you when you least expect it. She is surviving this diabetes and the complications, which she's going to start us in. So let's just start with the basics. What's some of those symptoms, Stephanie?
Well, frequent urination, extreme thirst, you get a little dizzy, you're tired, you get fatigue a lot, and I didn't know I had it, and then I couldn't wake up on Christmas morning, and my friends and family wanted me to get up, and I could not. I was almost in a diabetic coma. They took me to the hospital, and they said my sugar was over 500, and that I almost went to a diabetic coma and could have died. So since then, which is over 15 years now, I've been fighting this. And it took my mother's life, it took my uncle's, and my grandmother. And I'm hoping it doesn't take mine. That's why I'm really watching what I eat. You can't even have barbecue sauce, ketchup. All of that turns into sugar, which most of us don't know. And you don't really feel it all the time. You do feel tired, but you don't feel that you have diabetes. That's why they call it the silent killer.
You know what I was just thinking, Stephanie, is that it is a silent killer. And unfortunately, a lot of us do not survive because we don't heed the warnings.
Right.
Would you go back in time and kind of
change?
Yeah. What would you change that you did way back then?
I would have taken my medicine more, exercised more, and really watched what I ate. That way I could have maybe beaten it, even gotten off of medication. They told me had I taken it serious. And diabetes, it seems like you don't take it serious because you don't feel like you have anything wrong with you. The doctors tell you do, but you don't feel it.
Stephanie, since we have become friends, I've learned so much just in the brief time that we have known each other. There's a lot of people sitting out there that have misconceptions of judging a book by its cover. And you said something on a recent show that really just touched my heart. Something about it was eating you. How did you say that? Basically, like you would say, you turned it around and you made diabetes the villain.
Right.
It's not what you're eating.
That's what's eating me.
But you're in the stages and have been of complications. Yes,
right? Because being depressed and stuff with the diabetes, I was eating all the wrong things to help the depression, but it was making my sugar worse. And
what's normal reading for diabetes? Do you know about? It
should be like 120 and under, but they allow me to go up to 150 because I really normally stay in the 400s and 500s, which is very terrible. And when you have sugar and it goes in your blood vessels, it becomes like little crystals, little glass crystals, and it cuts your your arteries. So that's why you get very numb. You get neuropathy. That's why they have to end up doing amputations, which is not fun.
I was reading something on the neuropathy. That is when you have tingling in your hands and your feet, but if you let it go untaken care of, then it can end up being something really, really bad. So what would you say to the viewing audience out there as far as when it's time to go to the doctor?
Well, if you're thirsty all the time and you're frequently going to the bathroom, you're feeling tired and you normally don't feel tired after just a little bit of exertion, it's time to go to the doctor and get checked. And take it very seriously. Take all your medication, watch what you eat, and you can beat it. You really can beat it. But most people don't take it serious.
Why have you laid it in your heart to do this show, Stephanie? Why are we doing this show?
Because they don't tell us a lot about it. They just say, lose some weight, take your medicine, lose some weight. It's more than that. You have to really watch what you eat, even too much rice, pasta, like I said, ketchup, burgers, those things that we love, and boudin, cracklings, not all good for us. So,
what were you saying about the labels? Can we trust the labels just because it says diabetic?
No, most people think you can have the sugar-free candy. No. After I got out the hospital from the amputation, thinking I can have sugar-free candy at least, a little piece just to satisfy my sweet tooth, my sugar wouldn't stay out of the 5 and 600s. It was terrible. So I got off the candy and took my medicine right, and now I got it down into the 120s to 150s, which is very good for me.
Okay, we kind of talked about something too. Stephanie, to be sitting in front of this camera right now, has come a long way. Not only did the diabetes try to destroy her body, it also tried to destroy her personality, her courage. She has now learned to get out of the house and be proud of who she is.
Yes.
How many of you out there sitting back watching the television feel like that you can't get out for one reason or another? That's what Chillin Chattin is about.
Yes.
Let's get real.
Yes.
Let's talk about what's really bothering you today.
Right.
The topic is diabetes, but there's going to be other topics too, right?
Right. Yeah. Today we're just talking about diabetes because it really happened so recent to lose my toe, which was painful, scary, and just to have a part of your body removed is...
Well, just recently, right when you decided to do this show, isn't it amazing how bad stuff starts to happen? Like with me today, all of a sudden I couldn't talk for 2 days, but today I'm here. Isn't it amazing that you have come through what you've come through? But ever since you decided you wanted to do this show and you wanted to help people out there,
right?
All of a sudden, bam, you end up in the hospital.
Yes, I did.
But you
for 2 weeks almost died.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get up or anything, so they called the ambulance to come get me, and my sugar was way above 600, which is really bad. I could have went to bed that night and went to sleep and never woke up. So I'm thankful that they got the ambulance to come get me because I want to live a lot longer than my mother and my grandmother, who died young, which also my uncles died very young.
Okay, let's talk about the genetics. If it's in your family tree, then there's also a good possibility that it may surface in your family tree today.
Yes, especially type 2 diabetes, which is really a adult onset diabetes.
Okay, I was reading up on that, and I got serious about the diabetes, especially after I had my heart attack and knowing that my real mother passed away several years ago. Her heart problem caused diabetes, okay? Well, also, I learned that it's not just for adults, it's for kids too.
Yes, they have type 1, which is even more serious. It is no cure for it. As type 2, if you eat right, exercise, you can get off the medication. But type 1, no. And it's very, very serious.
And then I found out, I forgot about this one, there's different types of diabetes. And gestational diabetes, you get that when
you're pregnant.
When you're pregnant. I kind of think that's what happened to me 47 years ago. Technology wasn't there.
Yeah.
And my kidneys caused a problem. There was no such thing as talking about diabetes. And I ended up going into a coma because my kidneys stopped working a week when my little daughter was a week old. And as I read up on some of these things, I'm like, wow, that could have been what the problem was right there. And yes, it was life-threatening, and yes, they didn't expect me to live, but once again, here I am.
God has a bigger plan for you.
I get to be part of your show. That's one of it.
And I'm so appreciative.
It's all good. But you are walking in the shoes of diabetes.
Right.
This is real, and we have a caller. Are you ready to answer?
Yes.
Caller, you on the air?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Excuse me a little bit. I got a little bit of...
School with her.
Yes.
She passed away some time ago, diabetes too. Her sister lived out of state. Her mom passed away before she did. So I stayed with her the rest of her life on the phone and all that stuff.
Okay.
She passed away on August 11th or the 12th. I felt a cold vibration down my back. So cold, I feel heaven.
You know, I was watching the show that day when you made that statement. You had called in at this other live show. And people like you calling in makes the show worth really doing. And I remember you talking about how you were trying not to be depressed. Was that, Mike?
It's every saying goodbye, farewell, so long. I say, welcome home, and that welcome home. Just it makes you feel good in a positive way.
Yeah.
They're good and sweet, and they're happy with each with her mom.
So you're sharing with us that you have lost someone close to you through this diabetes not too long ago.
Yes.
And to get through your depression from not being depressed, you found a way to look positive into this could have been negative situation.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you calling in tonight because that's what it's all about.
Yes.
And Stephanie can tell you, but it took a lot for her to come out and start even doing this show because of what you just said. Mike, you're at home and you don't get out very often, do you?
I have daytime service for Bleeding Health. I go like 8 to 1. I'm taking care of my mom right now.
There you go.
Yes, hospital. She got a teeth in behind her ear this morning. They go for 4 days. Is this type of treatment they're doing?
Do you have a question you would like to ask Stephanie?
I've been diagnosed with DB2 my last visit. How long does it last? And I don't think my family had that before.
With diabetes?
Is this the diabetes diagnosis?
Yeah.
Well, we're not really qualified to answer that. You might want to look it up on the internet and possibly even, I've learned a lot on the internet, Mike.
I don't have a computer because I'm epileptic.
Okay, so that question was what? Maybe we can get you that answer. What is what?
I'm the first one in my family to be diabetic, but I don't know if it's hereditary or what.
Okay, and what was your question? Because I'm going to get the answer for you for next time, okay?
Can diabetes hit a family member that has been diagnosed with diabetes before? Because I'm the first one in my family.
Type 2 diabetes, yes. Because it has to do with your eating habits, lack of exercise. So, yes.
Okay, that's a good question, Mike. My question to you is, were you diagnosed, and what did you say earlier? What were you asking us? Is it if you're
I was shocked.
Okay, so they diagnosed you as a diabetic, but you gave a label. Didn't you say, or were you just saying diabetic?
Diabetes 2.
Diabetes 2 is what they diagnosed you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what category.
That's what it is. It's adult onset diabetes type 2.
It's called type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
And you can look it up on, well, you're not in the internet. Okay, we need to get you some printout. I got a bunch of it
I'm
right
not
here.
going to say, because I'm not a doctor, but that you can be cured from it, but you can really prolong your life if you watch what you eat and get some.
Just write a journal on it.
Huh?
Positive journaling.
You know,
Yeah,
he likes
because-
to write.
Yeah, you can write about it, but help yourself, but really watch what you eat. It really will help you, because you really don't want it to get so high that you lose limbs and stuff.
Not eating this morning.
But you really should have breakfast. It's very good for a diabetic to have breakfast.
Vegetables that were small.
You can have, eggs.
Eggs.
Yeah, and maybe a piece of wheat toast. Boiled eggs. It's good for you.
Okay, Mike,
Uh-huh.
if you know someone who has a computer, I have a bunch of readouts right now that I printed out. They would need to print you out and get it to you. We're going to go ahead and end the conversation with you, but possibly we can check with Bob and Richard. I'll let them know to give you. I'll make printouts and get it to them, and then you get it from them. Is that good?
Sure thing. I'm going to put it on August 17th.
Well, I'll go ahead and just turn in the paper I got, and I'll get them to give it to you. Then you'll have a copy. Thank you for calling in and for listening, and tell other people that we will be on the air at least once a month until things change. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your phone call. I'll get that information to you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, that's good.
Yes.
That's a good point. People
I don't want to
have
tell
a
them that,
computer.
you're going to cure it, but I think they should know that they really have to watch what you eat and try to get as much exercise. Even if you're a person who don't like to go outside, you can do some exercise in the house. And if you're a person that's not very mobile, you can do a little exercise and sitting in your chair, your little arm exercises and things like that can really increase your heart rate and cause you to burn some of that sugar.
You know, as I'm reflecting on what Mike was talking about, he has other issues going on in his life, but yet he has experienced what happened with the person that passed away, and he's also taking care of his mom, and now, out of the blue, he's been diagnosed. So people need to take it serious. If you've been told by a doctor there's even a possibility, then you need to do what you can to prevent it. I've been diagnosed with a bunch of stuff, but when it was brought to my attention, I got right on the ball and I tried to do what they said do. And so, no, I'm not a diabetic, but I do get asked that every time I go to the doctor.
Yes. Well, my wound care doctor for my toe, which she deals with diabetic amputations all the time. She goes to these big meetings and things, and she was telling me that Louisiana is the one state that has the most amputations from diabetes.
Wow.
And it's not just in older people, it's in young people too. Lots of young people are having amputations. Toes, foot, up to the knee. And she also told me that once you start getting amputation, usually within 5 years you'll have more. But she said if you get both your legs amputated with the diabetes, usually you get 10 years. So I'm asking you all to please take this serious. If you even think you have diabetes, please go get checked out, get tested, and get medication, or change your eating habits and get onto the road of recovery.
You know, being told that gives us fear.
Right.
And if you have fear in you, it'll keep your attention. But sometimes, like Mike chooses to be positive, you
Right.
have to become positive in these
That's right.
negative situations. You may be getting the facts, but it's not over
Right.
unless you're going to give up. And I say never give up.
No, that's why, as much as it hurt me and I was afraid, I did it. But I didn't stay there crying and crying. I just moved on and said, this is part of life. I made the mistake of not taking it serious, not eating the right foods, and not exercising. So it cost me my toe, plus not having education about it. So,
Now, Stephanie, for the audience that's watching your show right now, they don't know the interview that we had a while back. Maybe they weren't able to watch it at 9 o'clock at night.
Okay.
On that interview, you talked about how this started with you and how this is not the first time. You didn't just lose your toe right now. You've been through a lot that they wanted to do all kinds of stuff, but then you didn't want it done. Why?
Because I really believe in God, and I believed He would heal it. Between Him and having antibiotics, I really felt it would heal, and taking good care of it, which I did, and I didn't lose them. Sad to say, when my big toe got infected, they would not give me antibiotics, so it got worse. And
why not?
they just wouldn't tell me. They just kept passing me on to another doctor and another doctor, and time kept passing, and it just got really bad. Because also, like I said, I just lost my mom October 5th, 2012, from the diabetes taking her heart. She had a heart attack. And I've been depressed about it. And just this day, I was really crying for my mom. And it brought my immune system way down. So when I got up the next morning, my toe had got big, full of pus and everything. So you really do have to keep your head up high, stay more positive and cheerful, and just eat better. I mean, you can have fruits, vegetables, you can have meat, just don't have a steak like this. And chicken and turkey is very good for your diet. And for those who really like boudin, they're making chicken boudin now.
I know.
So you can have that boudin. You can have 4 and 5 links, or one for to help you satisfy that taste of boudin, since we live in Louisiana.
You know what, Stephanie, in those times whenever they were asking me if I was at every doctor visit, I get lined up to go into the diabetic clinic to go through the nutritional training and all this. And every time I go because I feel like if I can learn something to help somebody else, then it's all worth it.
Right.
And it's also going to help me. But what I wanted to say is that every time I go in the class, it's, people, we can have almost anything we want. It's our problem with more is not better.
Right.
Eat all you can buffets. I'm a fanatic with all of that.
Yes.
But I've learned through these classes, and I don't follow them. I'm going to be honest. But I've learned you can have almost anything you want if you just don't eat very much of it.
But especially, you really shouldn't. To take the diabetes serious, try to not have the fried
If you're
foods.
diabetic, that's right.
The fried foods is really, really bad. Because it also causes high cholesterol, and that can lead to your heart attacks too. Because diabetes really attacks your eyes, your brain, your heart, your liver, your kidneys, and everything.
So this excuse of what I had just said a few minutes ago led right up into what she brought up. Diabetes is not a joking matter.
Right.
It's really... Can you believe we already have 20 minutes? We have 20 minutes left. Wow, are we 20 minutes into the show already? Start talking, lady.
I don't know. But,
it's great information. What you want to bring up next?
yes. Like I said, just start doing a little small exercising and really, really stay on top of this and watch what you eat.
Okay.
You can go to American Diabetes Association, which is www.diabetes.org, and it tells you about support groups and things like that. Prevention is keeping an ideal body weight. An active lifestyle may prevent type 2 diabetes. Like I told you before, type 1 diabetes cannot be prevented. And it's mostly in children, type 1.
Did we talk about what you had mentioned earlier about you read a label and diabetic, something really was bad? Was it a candy or something?
Yeah, the sugar-free candy. It kept, like I said, it kept my sugar in the 400s and 500s. Thinking I could have, but it has like a sugar alcohol, and it does the same thing as sugar. Actually, I think actual sugar would be healthier than that sugar-free candy what they put in it. So it's really
What about alcohol, now that you brought it up?
well, you shouldn't have a lot of alcohol. It's not good for diabetes at all.
Right. I just found out that I just recently, with age, different things creep upon you, but also acid reflux is also other symptoms that can be misled for something. And I found out that a lot of things have similar symptoms. And so acid reflux, I learned a lot about that this week. But the best thing is, if you're interested in really making a difference and making things better and getting serious, you really need to find an outlet. If you don't have a computer, like Mike said, get a friend to research what you're asking about. Print it out for you, or if you have out time and you can get out of your house, go to the local library and you can read all about that. Learn to read. It'll save your life. It'll save your life.
Yeah, it says, like here, it says gaining better control over your blood sugar or cholesterol and blood pressure levels helps reduce the risk of kidney disease, eye diseases, nervous system diseases, heart attack, and stroke. And to prevent diabetes complications, visit your healthcare provider at least 2 to 4 times a year.
So if someone notices something's happening and maybe it's my imagination and they keep saying, like I did before, oh well, I must be tired, that's why I'm nauseated.
Right.
I must be whatever, I didn't eat.
Right.
You know, if there's symptoms and you're feeling totally different, no matter what symptoms or you might think of what you have, it's just wisdom to prevent the ultimate bad thing to happen, to go have it checked out, right?
Yes, but even though I say watch what you eat, you still have to eat to keep your blood sugars leveled.
Good point.
You have, especially a good breakfast, and eat 3-4 times a day. Small things, and fruit is good for you, but be careful with the bananas. They are highly with sugar.
Bananas and cantaloupe and all that, I'm a heart patient. That is the worst thing that I could eat, and that is what I put in my system before my massive heart attack. Hairdressers, which I was, a shop owner, beauty shop teacher, I was not eating 3 meals a day. I was living on coffee and caffeine, which I am paying for today.
Right.
I still like it, but I don't drink as much, you know. And but that right there, good eating habits really is important, especially.
Yes.
Eventually, you will be 65 like I am, so you're going to wish you had listened
Yes.
to the younger generation.
Right. This is by far not trying to preach to you or tell you, but just to help you out. This is with love, because I really don't want anyone else to go through what I've gone through. And the younger generation is bigger and bigger. And being overweight is a good cause and a big cause of having type 2 diabetes.
Well, you know what? With the audience out there, now's the time to call in if you have any questions. That number is 366-89. What is that? 50? Yes. And if you have any questions, we have a few minutes left in the show. Feel free to call in, and we'll see what we can do.
Yes.
Meanwhile, what is our topic going to be on, do you think, the next show?
I don't know. I'm thinking surviving molestation.
That is a really big topic.
Yes.
Well, now you hear it out there. Chillin Chattin, we're talking about diabetes. We're talking about get serious, heed the warnings today.
Yes.
Sharing information that we actually pulled up on the computer.
Right.
And so next show, we're going to try starting, a monthly show? Is that what we're doing? And if the audience out there start responding, who knows, we may go into more.
Yes, we may.
But molestation is going to be a hot topic, and you're looking at 2 people sitting at this table right now. When we talk about stuff, most of the time we've been through that, and we'll be honest with you.
Right.
And we have, but remember, we are survivors and overcomers, and we are positive thinkers, like Mike said earlier.
Yes, and that's another thing that usually eats you, which causes you to eat stuff you shouldn't eat.
So that makes you depressed, and you feel like you're not worthy to get out into the public. I think that's what we talked about too, huh?
Yes, because I always allowed my mother or my ex-husband to do everything for me. They kept me like in a cocoon. I didn't have to do anything. Anything that was out of my comfort zone, they would do it for me. So it really is not a good thing. You should do for yourself and really live, because life is so short. You should just look at it and say, I'm just as important as anyone else, and I should not keep myself hidden away from the world and not live. Why? Live in the house and the next thing you know, you're old or you passed away and you didn't enjoy this beautiful earth that we're put on.
You know what I love about you, Stephanie, when I met you, is that you have so much to give, and gradually you started talking about what was really on your heart is to help other people not go through or allow things to happen that happened to you.
Right.
And what impressed me more than anything was you being honest, and it started off with a mild comment, then you started getting that courage and that strength, and now you know what you're talking about. But that little girl that you introduced me to, she just loves you to death because you give her all that love. But you also identified with her. And what was that?
Yes.
She is possibly diabetic, or maybe if things don't get straightened up.
When she got to my house, she comes every summer, and I love her to death. She loves me to death. She was about 145, and she's only 7. She'll be 8 in December.
Beautiful little girl.
Beautiful. And now she's gone home. She's about 112 pounds.
So I need to go spend some time with you.
And let me tell you, she didn't stop eating. She ate 3 meals a day plus snacks. But it wasn't like 24/7 eating constantly. And she lost the weight. And she felt so much better. And so I just told her I don't want her to have the complications of diabetes like I did. So just watch what you eat.
You know what, when we are not confident in ourselves,
right,
we allow people to hurt us,
right,
that really have no right to hurt us, whether it's verbally or physically or even emotionally. And depression, it makes you feel not worthy of anything, and that is just a outright lie that steals some of our youths, some of the things that what if. I don't want to be one of these people to wonder what if. I'm going to know. Okay, so if I look back and anything I went through, if I see it in somebody else, I tend to want to help them not go through it.
Yeah, because you may have rainy days, but you have to think, if you keep on living and live right, you can have some really nice days in life. You can have really happy times. You can't let it beat you. You have to stay strong and show people that you're just as important. No matter what you look like, no matter what your race is, no matter what's happened to you, you are important.
That's right. And chilling and chatting, and you're letting your coffee get cold.
Yes, it's very delicious.
So you just drink that coffee, because I'm telling people today that Chillin and Chattin, this is the first live airing. And as soon as we know a schedule, we're going to post it on Facebook, which is where there is a page.
Yes, Chillin Chattin page.
And you're getting results from that already, people liking it?
Yes, we have a lot of likes.
From all over the world, I understand.
Yes, Africa. And
can they actually go to that webpage, check it out, and ask questions on that webpage?
Sure, they sure can.
Okay.
They can leave messages and
maybe give us ideas of what they want to talk about on the show.
Yes, and we can answer that. And we can have a dialogue about it, and help prepare more for those who are interested in those topics.
Well, I sure wish that everybody could see. If you like us on Facebook, they'd be able to see it. But actually, the graphics behind us is done by Don Mitchell, who is the graphic artist and the editor of this show and many of my shows. And it's beautiful. It has 2 big old cups on there. And we just absolutely hope that you will know we are just 2 friends sitting here chatting. Okay, caller? You're on the air.
Hey, those guys sounded more like achievers to me. As achieve things in life.
Do what? What'd you say, Mike?
Achievers. You like achieve things in life, setting goals.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what sounds like to me.
Sounds like what we're talking about right now?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Well, you got to get to a certain point.
Yeah, you have to. Yes, if you do that, set goals and all. If you're a person that don't like to go out, go beyond your comfort zone and go out. But always tell yourself that you're important and you deserve to live and be happy.
Yeah.
Not everybody starts off being achievers. That's because you become a fighter to stand up for your rights. First of all, you don't let whatever's bothering you.
Effort.
Do what?
It takes a lot of time takes a lot of effort.
It's worth it.
But that's just what I was going to say. You took the words out of my mouth. You have to realize that you are worth it.
Mike, what kind of disability do you have?
Mental.
You are mentally what?
Educate challenge.
Challenged. There you go. You gotta
Yes.
learn to use the right terminology.
Right.
Mike calls in to a lot of the shows and he asks some good questions.
Right.
I went to the rules a long time ago.
But that means that you are also able. You choose to function. You choose to educate yourself. We are here to share. We can't really tell you what to do other than we can share information that we have looked up. But yeah, you go through different stages.
Right.
All right. Keep my phone number. Give me a call. Hey.
Hey?
Keep my number and make a phone call over here. I'll show you the right. All right.
Okay, I didn't forget about that. I've just been busy. But look, I am going to get back with you through Bob, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Because I'm bringing some of my albums over there on 17.
Well, I'm going to check with you on that later. Thank you for calling, Mike.
All right. Don't forget the achievers and people that do things more in life, get more back in life.
There you go. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're an achiever.
Yes, we
Yes,
have
I
to
am.
be.
Yeah.
We have to be. Yes, we do. Because it's very important.
I believe we can be anything we want to be. If you want something bad enough, you have to have a goal. Number one, you have to have a goal.
Yes.
And my goal is to enjoy every day and be productive because you may not be here tomorrow as
That's right.
we've learned different
That's
things.
right. Yes, my mother went unexpectedly. We didn't think she would go, but she went unexpectedly. And so, live today. Like Miss Sudie said, you may not have tomorrow. And don't let anyone make you feel like you're not important.
You know, when people start passing away that's close to you or friends or family, you really only then seem to really want to be serious because life is precious.
Right.
And we really need to encourage people to live it to the fullest.
Yeah, and I learned the hard way because I lost my mom and I got divorced. And I had to depend on myself. And I wish I could have been doing that before. That way it wouldn't hit me like a ton of bricks all at once. So,
All of a sudden, your support system was not there.
at all. I mean, I still have, for me personally, my Heavenly Father,
Right.
who helps me, and I believe in Him. And He gives me strength. But also because I just don't want anyone else to live like I have always lived, in the background. I'm not by far a stupid person. I'm not brilliant. But I have a lot to offer the world, and I think everyone has a lot to offer.
So now that we've come through discussing diabetes, the next show is going to talk about molestation,
Right.
abuse as children,
Right.
as adults, not just women, men.
Right.
And so people are going to see that on this show, we're going to talk about real life, like we said,
Yes.
real people, real situations.
Yes, you can call in and talk about what's happened to you as far as child molestation. And I'm not
for
embarrassed
heaven's
to say
sakes.
that I am a survivor of it.
Amen.
And you can't survive. And just because someone does that to you, don't let them control you for the rest of your life. Don't let what happened control you for the rest of your life.
And in that show, we will also encourage you, if you do suspect something, please report it. Because there's abuse in many ways. It just so happens we're going to talk about the molestation area of it.
Right.
There's emotional. Physical is included.
Right.
But that's why people are depressed.
You feel you're not worthy.
You know.
And then some people, they feel like they're not worthy so much, and the only time they can feel love is if they're being intimate with someone.
You know what I've learned, Stephanie, is that somebody else's story can't always be worse than yours. So people who like pity parties, people who want to just be poor, pitiful me, and I'm the victim all the time, that's not what this show's about.
No.
This show is to tell you that you choose to be the victim. But it's not always easy to get out of a situation. I know.
Right.
I've worn many hats in that area, but I also have to say I'm here today alive, which means a lot of people are in their graves that did not.
Right.
And they stayed in situations that cost their life.
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about the next show.
Yes, because my mother was also a survivor of molestation, which she never spoke about, and she only told me one time, and she never really talked about it, and that really ate her up throughout life. And I wish she would have gotten help. That's why I want to do a show about it, so that anyone out there who has gone through it can call and talk. Don't keep it hidden. Don't keep it inside. Talk about it.
Yeah, that's right. When I was growing up and I was 6 years old, things were happening to me in a foster situation. And I was threatened not to tell anybody, and because they were going to kill me. But at that time, I just knew that this was my foster father. But now as an adult, I have forgiven that person because I realized because of his drinking and his pornography magazines, this wonderful man only chose 3 years when he knew I was getting out to attempt, and he did, rape me. But it's one of those situations where some of these things are so tragic that you push it away, pretend it never happened.
And a lot of people are ashamed.
And ashamed.
Like it's their fault, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
And every time I had a baby, the doctor would say, "Were you ever injured?" And he'd ask me all kinds of questions. And by him kept on asking me questions, it finally triggered that push down memory that I did not remember. Then I started asking questions, and sure enough, it all came back. But today I forgive. I have forgiven.
Yes.
And that's why I can sit here and talk, because my story is nothing compared to some of these stories I've heard just recently.
Right.
Even your story.
Right. And I would just like to say that I was weighing 387, which I'm not ashamed to say, I mean, is really big. And I'm now at 321. And it's just changing eating habits, eating better, eating more frequently like I'm supposed to. And the weight is coming off. Can't wait till my foot heals so I can get in some exercise and keep myself young and beautiful.
And beautiful. Well, I'm proud to say that I've been every size in the book. And even at the size I am right now, which is 178, nothing to hide. I need to be smaller, but I'm okay.
Yes.
Nothing's going to rob my joy anymore except life itself.
That's
and
right.
It'll be only when it's my time.
Right.
So I got a rude awakening. I'm going to have to behave myself on certain things. And I'm hoarse today because I misbehaved myself and ate stuff I wasn't supposed to. And this is a reminder. Acid reflux is a serious condition and can get worse. And believe me, with the episode I just had, I will give up the fried pork chops and the fried fish, which I hadn't eaten in years, and guess what? Gives you a real
It reminds you why, huh?
It did. And I don't want to be reminded anymore. It's not fun.
No.
In fact, today I almost couldn't come to the show, but miraculously my voice returned.
And I'm so thankful.
I'm glad to. I'm glad to.
When she told me yesterday she wouldn't be able to, I was really...
I am so honored to be on this show because not only are we here to encourage you, I am so excited that she actually approached me and I didn't have to beg her. I only asked her one time when she was starting to open up and share some of the things in her life.
Yeah.
And finally one day I said, "Girl, you really need to pray about having a show. You could really help a lot of people sitting out there."
That's my goal. That's my goal.
So how many
Help
people
others
sitting
and
out
help
there?
myself at the same time by not staying indoors all
It's
the
like
time.
Mike, you get out on the phone next time and you call people and tell them what we're talking about if you think it might help them. Anybody in the audience that's viewing, if there's something you think that somebody might be interested in, share. Let them know what's on TV. Katie Ann Open Channel is free speech, and we're here for the right reason.
Yes, and
We're
if
not
it's
here
a
to down
topic that
anybody.
you may not want others to know about at this moment, at the time in your life, you can just call and you don't have to say your name. You
Nope.
can ask your question. It's anonymous. Nobody will know.
That's right. That's
But
right. So that works.
It will help you to talk about it.
That's right. If I had, let me give an example. Many, many, many years ago, had there been a program that was installed at that time, and I actually was asked, there was an organization that now reaches out, and kids being abused can actually make a telephone call themselves, and they are able to report their own abuse. Many years ago, people didn't listen to the children when the children were trying to tell them what was going on. And because of that fact, I've always had a passion to make people understand that kids do know what they're talking about. You need to really listen. But anyway, I had the opportunity, I guess, I don't know, about 4 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. Longer than that, unfortunately, longer. I was asked to view a video that had been done, and the reason for them asking me to view this video was because the boss I was working for had told them a little bit about what I went through as a child. After I viewed the video and it came out, I was wordless. And my breath is taken away. And they asked me, what did you think? I said, and my sister will appreciate this too, my sister that's a year younger than me, that makes sure everybody knows she's a year. Yes, Mary, I am talking about you. I love her. Had I seen this video, I would have called in, because then I would have believed that somebody out there was going to listen to what was really going on. And because there was nothing like that, I stopped my sister from reporting what was going on with us. And the reality of the whole thing is, my fear was us being split up.
Yes.
But the people wanted to know what I thought, and I said, more people, more kids will call in. And I appreciate that. And right now, I won't name the organization, but I am so grateful for that. So, we know that there's different outlets to help different people. But if you don't ask not, receive not.
And the reason we're talking about other things too, about eating you,
Yeah.
is because when they're eating you and you're not eating the right foods, it can lead to diabetes. All that you keep inside of you. And you don't want that. You want to stay healthy and happy and talk about it and keep pushing through.
That's right. So today is diabetes and how to stay positive and take it serious.
And September will be about surviving child molestation.
There's a whole lot of topics, but we're just giving you a little future idea.
Yes.
Do you know anybody at this time that is going through diabetes in your family besides you?
Yes. I have cousins, and my cousin her toe got infected. She didn't lose it, but they had to pull the nail off and part of the skin and stuff. And I told her, you got to take it serious. She has 4 children.
Oh my gosh.
And so she works in a donut shop.
We got 5 minutes left in the show. Well, we got a lot of stuff covered already, huh?
Oh, yes.
So we kind of talked about the symptoms and the different kinds of diabetes. Was type 1 and type 2 and type 3. Did we clear that up?
Yes.
Type 1 is what?
It's children diabetes.
Children.
Yes, and type 2 is onset diabetes, adult onset diabetes. And type 3 is gestational, when you're pregnant. Certain women get that when they're pregnant, and you have to take it very serious.
And diabetes in any of these categories, if not taken care of or addressed, will cause complications, according to what I read.
Sure does. According to what I've lived, it causes lots of complications.
Okay, good point. I just read. You have been there.
I have severe neuropathy in my feet, and it's starting in my hands. So I really wish I would have taken it serious a lot sooner.
What about this insulin-producing stuff? I mean, who takes insulin and who doesn't?
Well,
what's the need for insulin?
When you first start on the diabetes, you don't always get directly put on insulin. You can take pill medication.
A lot of people think you do, though.
No.
I did.
No. And if you think you can't give yourself a shot, you can. Because I didn't think I could, but I did. And I learned to do it. And it's not hard. And it's worth surviving. But at first you start on the pills a lot of times. But once they put you on that pill, if you really do the right things by watching what you eat and all, you can get off of it and not have to worry about going on to the insulin.
Actually, I have a friend who's a singer who was on that, and she totally did a U-turn on her diets, and now she is not on that pill.
Right.
She is, and I mean, she invites me to go out to eat once in a while, and I promise you, she's eating what she wants, but she's eating the right stuff.
Right.
You know?
You can.
So, as far as diabetes goes, the care out there still requires, a lot of people self-medicate themselves.
They sure do.
And I learned the hard way that through a friend of mine, that you can over-medicate yourself in medicine without the approval of a doctor. If you've been diagnosed with diabetes, for example, heart problems, or whatever, even high blood pressure, you can cause yourself problems by taking medication, even over the counter. If you don't find out and get it cleared through your doctor, it's okay. I have a sister that was with me, another sister recently, and my gosh, let's just say, cut a long story short, she went from 11 medications down to 4. That's how many she was taking that was making her malfunction in so many ways.
Too much.
It's not good just because you got an upset stomach, pop a pill, got a headache, pop a pill. You got to know what you're taking because it can throw it out of whack big time.
But many people are living with diabetes and don't even know they have type 2 diabetes.
That's right.
So, like I said, if you have any of the symptoms, or you just want to know for sure, just when you go see your doctor, have them give you a test. It's simple. It's not a lot of pain, just a little prick, a little test of blood.
You know what? I just was kind of shown we have maybe 2 minutes left in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you been having fun?
Oh, yes.
You glad you're here?
I'm not as nervous as I thought. I started out a little nervous, people, but
it's because
not
you're
as
talking
bad.
about what you know you're talking about.
I'm feeling better knowing that the word about diabetes and other things are going to be getting out there to people who, or maybe like me, who sit home and don't take their life in their own hands.
Well, it's 1 minute now, and I guess you need to start telling people thank you.
Thank you so much for joining Sudie and I on Chillin Chattin, and I hope to see you again in September, speaking about surviving child molestation. And if you have any questions, you can always call in at 337-366-8950.
And also, too, be sure to check us out on Facebook.
Yes.
There is a page there that says like us. If you have any questions or you would like to hear different topics, we will be making a list.
And we do check out the Chillin Chattin page on Facebook, and we're willing to talk about anything you want to speak about. We talk about it and having an episode about it.
And a reminder that when we're on this show, it is a live show, which means you can call in and participate.
Right.
And again, that number is 337-366-8950.
Yes.
So we want you to know that it's not just us talking. We encourage people out there to tune in, call in, and let's help each other.
Yes, help each other, and thank you for having us in your home.
And that's almost a wrap. You did a great show, and thank you.
Thank you. That went pretty fast, didn't it?
It did.
I said it loosened up a little
Good
bit.
show. Yes, of course. That's why I said.
You know what? But you did that when you first started talking. You saw me nervous.
Still talking.
But you helped me not be so nervous. So
Well,
I'm
I had a
thankful,
great time. I'm glad. Thank you so much.
and I really hope it helps people.
You too. That's what the show's about.
Helping.
Being real.
I wish someone would have helped and had something like this for me to watch when I was younger.
I'm glad I'm part of this because I'm learning. And I'll be able to share with others too.
Yeah. I hope no one, they don't have to be ashamed. Just call and talk about it. Change your life.
That's right.
It really does help. to bring a much more enjoyable life to you. If I can help you. Good coffee, good conversation.
Yes, it was.
You're going to talk
It
about
is.
real people, real feelings, real issues.
You can call in and ask anything you want about her.
I come from a very abused background.
We always put our heart into it. That's how we be true and real.
So we were talking through the end of the show and the rolling credits,